everyone and welcome back to Upload the Download. And this month has been incredibly busy in the world of technology. We've had arguments in Linux, we've had the Samsung Galaxy camera, which is a camera running a full version of Android. We've had millions of phones released, tablets, Stephen Fry saying that he likes Ubuntu. Oh, and then Apple's releasing some iPhone 5 tomorrow or something. Let's get into it. First up on my list is all of Samsung's new devices, the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 and the Samsung Galaxy camera. Samsung announced the all-new Galaxy Note 2 in Berlin a couple of weeks ago. The new Galaxy Note boasts a 1.6 GHz quad-core processor, 2 GB of RAM, and Jelly Bean, Android. It appears that their updated phablet is going to be kicking some backside. In fact, this thing also comes with a brand new features in their S Pen or stylus. Now you can actually hold the S Pen at the screen and it works like a laser pointer. You don't even have to touch the screen with it. So it's like a psychic stylus. One of the coolest features in the new Galaxy Note 2 at the moment, in my opinion, is the fact you can record the screen. You can actually record as you're playing games, as you're viewing things, as you're doing stuff, testing out your apps, and then you can actually save that movie file, use it in videos like this. That would be super handy. Unfortunately, the cameras in the Samsung Galaxy Note 2 aren't anything to boast about. The back camera is an 8 megapixel camera and the front camera is a 2 megapixel camera. Pretty much the same specs as the Samsung Galaxy S2 that was released quite a while now, last year, which is a long time in tech words. Also, the new Galaxy Note has ditched the Super AMOLED screen. Who cares? It's low quality, especially when you've got the all-new HD Super AMOLED. The amount of supers and pluses and awesomenesses getting included in the names of tech products these days is getting really ridiculous. Next up on the list, as though Samsung is trying to make up for the pretty ordinary cameras in the Samsung Galaxy Note 2, is the Samsung Galaxy camera. That's right, Samsung has announced a point-and-shoot camera which actually runs a full version of Android. The camera has a 4.8 720p resolution display with built-in Wi-Fi, 3G, 4G, as well as 120 frames per second slow motion recording at 480p. It also has built-in voice controls which allows you to control the camera from a faraway distance, meaning that in this situation I'd be able to just control the camera's focusing and menu options just by saying focus. You can do this. In terms of megapixels, the camera has 16.3, which is definitely not bad considering most low-budget cameras today in the DSLR market have about the same. What really intrigues me about Samsung's decision is that it's a point-and-shoot market and doesn't seem like it's been seeing any action in this new age of smartphones. It seems like a dying market to kind of want to enter into, especially with an Android-based device that isn't even usable as a phone. Nonetheless, I think it's an exciting looking device and I'm interested to see where it goes and how well it goes in the market. The Ubuntu Linux community was honoured 2 weeks ago when Stephen Fry said in the question and answer style video for Ogcamp that he likes using Ubuntu on some of his devices because he says it's the friendliest. Apart from talking about Ubuntu, Stephen Fry also mentioned the ridiculousness of the Apple and Samsung lawsuits, which is true. He also spoke about how awesome the iOS jailbreaking community is, which is also true. There have been a lot of arguments in the Linux community recently. One of the founders of the GNOME desktop project has said that Mac OS X is completely killing Linux. The fact that Mac has this new success with their Unix-based, app store and everything, he said that Linux will never be able to achieve that today. With Valve producing a Steam client for Linux and then the Humble Bundle getting more momentum on Linux, I was always under the impression that Linux is getting even better. Not dying. Linus Torvalds, the original creator of the Linux kernel, came back and said to the GNOME founder, "You're in denial, man. Linux is going great, nothing to worry about. Stop your whining." Miguel de Icaza, the GNOME desktop founder, he came back and then said, "Yeah, it is. We're in trouble. The open source desktop of Linux will never, ever be able to change from a workstation OS to a consumer mainstream OS. It's just not possible." I still think differently. Also in other Linux arguments, the developers of the Ubuntu fork Linux Mint have been complaining about the new version of the file manager Nautilus. Apparently 3.6 seems more like a downgrade compared to 3.4. Some of the design changes that are made in 3.6 completely destroy, apparently, the file manager. Linux Mint founder Clement Lefebvre described it as a catastrophe, and now the Linux Mint developers are going to be freezing the version 3.4 in their OS for now, but it's not a permanent solution for future releases, so they're going to have to look into that. Next up is a rather interesting story. Now, there's been a lot of lawsuits involving Apple and Samsung recently, but now there's an even more questionable one. In China, there's a company that's created a new phone called the GooPHONE, but it very closely resembles the mock-up photos or iPhone 5 leaks that have been spread across the internet over the last billion years. The thing is, the developers of this GooPHONE, very much concept look-alike, have said that they will sue Apple for the iPhone 5 if it turns out that the iPhone 5 actually looks like that. I give up on these tech companies and their lawsuits. And goodbye, guys. Oh, bye. Next up is Amazon news. Now, to say that Amazon has been selling quite a few Kindle Fires would be a bit of an understatement, despite the fact that the Kindle Fire is running on a modded, locked up version of Android. It's been selling really well. And just recently, to kind of dig the stake deeper into Google and Apple's hearts, they've released the all-new Kindle Fire HD. Well, multiple Kindle Fire HDs. You can now get an 8.9-inch 1080p resolution 1.5 GHz dual-core 16GB model for $300. And if you go a touch smaller, you can get a 7-inch 1280 by 800 resolution display, 1.2 GHz dual-core, and 16GB of memory for $200. And then you can go smaller again and not get a Kindle Fire HD and just get a normal Kindle Fire for $160. The Kindles are definitely becoming a major competitor in the tablet market. Well, no, they're actually already a major competitor in the tablet market. I know many people that are actually going to buy them because the price point is just so in reach. Amazon's presence in the tablet market is something that Google and Apple should be paying more attention to instead of suing each other. There have been a lot of phones being announced this month. In fact, Nokia announced their new Lumia 920 with amazing video stabilization and photography capabilities. Or so it seemed. As it turns out, Nokia advertised their new phone using photos and videos that were taken not with their phone, but with professional photography and video equipment. Obviously, this isn't a great move to convince people to want to buy your product. The Nokia Lumia 920 is running Windows Phone 8, has wireless charging, and of course all of those great, questionable video and photo capabilities. Obviously there were some other phones released this month, one of them being the Motorola Razr Droid HD. This new Razr HD has 4.7-inch screen with 1GB of RAM, a dual-core processor and an 8-megapixel camera. To say the least, it seems very washed out in all of the talk with the Samsung Galaxy Note and the iPhone 5 coming up, and it seems like everyone's just trying to force their phones in before the iPhone comes out, which, if it's anything like the images in the concepts and the leaked images, and got nothing to worry about. However, another smartphone that hasn't been receiving a lot of credit is the NexPhone, which is currently on Indiegogo. It's going through that kind of Kickstarter styled phase. And anyway, this phone is going to be running Ubuntu Linux for Android, and it's going to be able to plug onto a laptop, a tablet and a desktop. It's the one device and it's everything. So go check that out, the link's in the description. That's another smartphone that if you're interested in Linux distributions might tickle your fancy. So, next. Google has now released the official YouTube app into the App Store. Hurrah! Since the dawn of time, iOS users have been faced with the annoying native YouTube app as well as the web browser based app, which I actually prefer more than the native app, but it's still really crap. And since Apple is ditching the native YouTube app in iOS 6, Google's decided to jump in, stick in a YouTube app in their own way, and it's awesome. go check this app out. The link is in the description. I couldn't actually find it straight away. It seemed like it was taking a while to propagate around the iTunes servers, but definitely go check it out. It's pretty cool. It is far better than the iTunes native app in iOS, and it is way better than the web-based app for the mobile. It's just, brilliant. Go check it out. You can also watch my video on it. I've gone through and I've looked at it and given my opinions. I'm exploring it with you. You can watch that by clicking the annotation here or the link in the description at the end of the video. Now it's time to get all Apple-y. September the 12th has been the hinted date of release for the iPhone 5 by Apple in this image that they gave us. As you can see, it's got nice dark 12 in big dark letters, and there's a shadow that sneakily hides the number 5. Now, of course, the one thing that really annoys me, personally, is that it's not going to be the iPhone 5. It's going to be the iPhone 6. iPhone 3G, iPhone 3GS, iPhone 4, iPhone 4S, iPhone 6. Nice counting, Apple. Obviously, the only reason they'd call it the iPhone 5 is because, you know, it makes it easy for consumers, because the leap from 4S 6 would be a bit weird. But then again, according to a Dutch blog that posted this photo here, the iPhone 5 or 6 may very well be called the new iPhone, just like the new iPad. There have also been many speculations that Apple will be revealing a new iPad mini to the tablet market. In my opinion, Apple seems to be losing its touch. I mean, with those new Apple ads that we saw a while ago, and now with this kind of fragmented looking iPhone, and the fact that the fragmentation with the product line, I don't know, perhaps tomorrow they'll prove me wrong. I mean, obviously they are doing something right, because iPads have actually passed PC sales in schools in America. But what still concerns me is their secrecy seems to be going down the drain. In more Ubuntu news, I know I've got a lot of Ubuntu news this month, it's been awesome. In more Ubuntu news, Ubuntu's live CDs in 12.10 won't be live CDs anymore. The problem is the ISO file, or the disk image that you'd burn onto an image to then stick in your computer and install Ubuntu, is now larger than a CD. It's now larger than 700 megabytes, it's now 800 megabytes, meaning that you have to burn it onto a DVD or a USB rather than a CD. Ubuntu have said that the reasoning behind this change is to give developers a bit more breathing room when it comes to compacting their programs and packages for the Ubuntu install disk. Now, yeah, I get this, it's pretty cool having 100 megabytes extra to work with. One thing that does irritate me, if you're going to increase the size of your ISO image, I recommend you just bump it all the way up to 1.4 gig, because that way it's the same size as a DVD, you get tons more breathing room, and then I don't feel bad about wasting half of the DVD because the ISO file is only 800 megabytes. Oh, so there we go. This has been a very packed episode. I'm currently very tired. Anyhow, so thanks so much for watching this episode of Upload and Download. Remember, if you want to watch my video on the YouTube app, there's that there. Also, if you're interested in watching me scream a little bit in a Slender marathon, also a link right here somewhere if I put it here. I might put it at the end of the video, so I'm just standing here doing this for no reason. I don't know. Links will also be in the description for that as well though. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.